All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Careers in Army Medicine podcast. Today we have Dr. Benjamin Boswell with us. So he is one of the team physicians for the Cleveland Browns and an emergency medicine doctor currently working at University Hospital. So one of the biggest things is also he is a major in the Army Reserve. Sir, welcome.
Thank you.
So recently we got to meet actually doing a commissioning for one of the physician's assistants that works with you currently. And we just got to talking. And so I'd like to actually bring you on and just kind of hear your story.
Yeah, so my story actually starts quite a while ago. I actually tried to join the Marines out of high school, but this was back in 2001 when I graduated from high school, but I wasn't able to do so because of medical issues with my knee. So I kind of forgot about it for quite some time. And then when I was in medical school, I had some friends who were in the HBSP program. And then I got to talking with them. And then I kind of found that as a nice little avenue to try to get in the military. I always wanted to be in the military since I was a child. I have family members. My grandfather was in the Army, was in World War II. And then I have my uncle and my cousin were both in the National Guard. So when I was in medical school, I contacted a recruiter and then actually was applying to the HBSP program. But by the time I applied to the program, there were no positions left available. I tried to join my second year of medical school, so all the positions for my graduating year were gone. So then the recruiter mentioned this MDSSP program through the reserves, and so that was kind of my way of getting in. So I actually joined my second year of med school, and I joined into the STRAP program through MDSSP.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know, there's a few different routes to take. So what you mentioned before, the HPSP, that is our med school scholarship. So 100% paid, all that to go to med school. But you do kind of have to catch that early, like you said, sir, that once you hit late in your M1 year is even too late. So then, but there are a few other options. So you went through civilian med school and civilian residency. So what was that like?
So it was actually really, really, really. It worked really well for me. So I was a little bummed when it was too late to apply the HBSB. When I started looking into the MDSSP program, I started realizing the benefits of that program, in that I could go to a civilian medical school. I could do a civilian residency and kind of take my civilian path with the military option. Or not option, but with the military obligation as well. But the nice thing is that while in medical school, I received a stipend. So although they didn't pay for my med school up front, like you get for the HPSP, for the MDSSP, I received a stipend throughout medical school, and then I actually extended that and received the same stipend throughout residency. So it actually worked out quite nicely. It gave me a little bit of extra funds necessary to get through medical school. I don't think I could have gone through without that. So that made it, and residency for that matter, because residence salary is not the best. And I trained down in Miami Beach, Florida, which is a very expensive city to live in. So I think if I didn't have that MDSSP funding, I don't know if I could have afforded to do that. So it kind of opened up a lot of doors for me, which was really nice.
Okay. Now, did you get help paying back your med school loans at all?
Yeah, not yet. So because I took my stipend throughout med school and residency, I have obligation time for the stipend. I believe now, I don't want to speak out of line, but I believe now you have the option of doing obligation time for your stipend, as well as get HPLR or loan repayment. They weren't offering that when I went through or when I signed my contract a few years ago, but I believe they're offering that now, from what I'm hearing from my personnel managers.
And so
Sorry,
what he's describing is, so it wasn't available. It is available now. So what pretty much it is, while you're taking the strap, so you're getting that stipend going through residency now, that time that you're serving, going through residency, you can start getting that student loan repayment. But unfortunately, it wasn't available for you. But later on down the line, it does become available as well.
Yeah, so I owe, I'm still paying my obligation phase for my stipend, but once I'm done with that, then I plan to stay in at that point, and then each year I stay in, I'll get HPLR loan repayment towards my medical school loans.
Okay, awesome. And so you're working right now at
Mhm.
University Hospitals.
Yep.
And how did you get linked up with the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, so halfway through my residency, I did a sports medicine fellowship. Halfway through my residency, I kind of started looking at additional training to see what kind of job opportunities or additional opportunities I could have after residency and beyond emergency medicine. And I kind of landed into sports medicine. One of my mentor in medical or in residency did sports medicine, so he kind of talked to me. I did that, and so I had matched into my sports medicine fellowship at Duke University. And while I was in San Diego, my last year residency, I met one of my current partners with the Browns now, and he kind of opened the avenue because I have a little bit different background as an emergency medicine doctor. There's not a lot of emergency medicine doctors that do sports medicine, and they kind of wanted that avenue or that additional um, ability on the sidelines with the Browns. So that's kind of how. And so he chatted with me, and then he got me in contact with my current with the head team doctor, and he reached out to me, and that's kind of how I ended up in Cleveland working with the Browns. So it worked out quite nicely.
Awesome. So, how is it with the Army service? And it sounds like you do have a lot going on as far as your professional life as well. Do they integrate well as far as like the Army Reserve is concerned, giving you that flexibility, or is it like a steadfast, hey, this is your time, you need to come in at during these weekends, whatnot?
So it's a long answer that I'm going to try and keep short. Overall, it's been a really good experience. Um, I'll take it all the way back to medical school and residency. The way that the STRAP program is set up, they make it very, um, I don't want to use the word easy, but easy for soldiers that are in training. They don't require you to go to drill. You can use your academic time and lecture time and things like that to cover your drill time for the military, which was wonderful. So although I've been a soldier since I joined in 2011, but I didn't have a lot of in-person other than officer training in Texas and occasional additional training. I was able to spend my time focusing on training and learning. Then once you finish training, so once I finished residency and fellowship, then I um, became a full-time attending physician. Then I was attached to a unit, Army Reserves unit. The unit I was attached to has been very easy, is worked out very well. The unit I'm attached to is in Twinsburg, which is really close to Cleveland. So it's actually been quite nice. I haven't had to travel on the weekends yet. I can do my full-time job and go to drill on the weekends and stay in town. In fact, so in addition to the Browns, I'm the head team physician for the Cleveland Monsters, the American Hockey League team here. And I've even been able to do that job during drills. I would drill, Saturday during the daytime, I'd drill, and then my hockey team would be playing at nighttime in downtown Cleveland. And I had the ability to leave my drill and then go cover the event downtown in Cleveland, and then was at drill the next morning again. So it's actually been, I'm sure it's not that way for everybody, but for me, it's actually worked out very nicely.
Awesome. So I know a lot of people ask, especially for Army Reserve, have you deployed yet?
Yeah, great question. I have not yet, although I am scheduled for deployment this upcoming summer. Another nice thing about the STRAP program, as a physician, they try and make it as well-rounded or not well-rounded, but as they kind of let you fit it into your work schedule. So I was actually able to choose my deployment. I will be going to Honduras this next summer, and I was able to do that because I was able to coordinate my work schedule, coordinate my sports coverage schedule. So I'm going kind of right before Brown season kicks off. Um, and then I'll be back in time for that. So I was able to actually to choose my deployment, and that's another ability that they've given me through the STRAP program with the APMC.
Awesome. Um, Other than that, so we just wanted to come in, just have you sit down. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties getting all this going. So as far as for your time, since you came in and sat down and talked to us, we can also help out with the reserve training piece as well. So if, for example, this month you're not able to make it to your drill or whatnot, you can actually come in, talk to us and help out with on the recruiting side. But is there anything else that you'd like to leave for whether somebody's in med school, in strap, or even just considering some of these programs? Is there anything that you would you say to them?
There's really a lot to say, but I can kind of generalize it down to say, for me personally, it was the best decision I ever made. Um, it has opened a lot of doors for me and given me a lot of opportunities that I otherwise would not have had. I actually even met my wife during officer training. So, for me, it's opened a lot of doors, and I know, especially when it came down to for residency, when I was interviewing for residencies, they all loved the fact that I was in the military, and they all loved the fact that I had that additional aspect coming into the program. So it's just, for me, it's just opened up a lot of doors. I think it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience so far, and I
It,
would strongly suggest it. Sorry.
oh no, you're good. And so I know you mentioned that when you were applying to residency, that being in the Army was actually seen as a benefit. A lot of people ask me questions. Have you noticed any sort of kind of sticking points between your employer because you're in the military? Has that ever come up?
Yeah, so both on kind of both ends. When I was being hired for this job, um, during my interview, the department chair mentioned to me that, well, technically I have two department chairs, and they both mentioned about the military. One of them said I was the first one to join the department um, with military obligation, and they were really excited about that because they felt like that was a really good selling point for the department. And then my other department chair is actually retired military, and he was really excited to have me on board as well. There's several, so my emergency department department chair, and there's several emergency medicine docs that are prior military. So they liked that background, and that was one of the selling points for them bringing me on.
Awesome. I know you said you mentioned your wife going through your officer training.
Hmm.
As far as married life, I've been active duty my entire career. So I have a wife, I have a 4-year-old. On the active duty side of it, it's actually very easy to manage both career and family life. Have you noticed, especially being dual military, has it been any difficulties or anything like that?
Well, so first of all, I want to say thank you for your service. I know that's hard to do, so I forgot to mention that earlier. Second of all, yes, I mean it's been nice. My wife she did ROTC at Georgetown, and so she did that, and then she went into the National Guard. So it's actually been quite nice. Our drill schedules this calendar year have been the same weekend, so it's actually worked out really nicely. Is the weekends that I'm in drill, she's also in drill. We're in different units, which is a little more difficult, but overall our schedules have been gelling pretty well. So I don't know what that brings in the future, but so far it's been pretty easy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that people do ask a lot is like, am I allowed to have a family? Well, it's like, yes, of course. Like, we're not all like 18-year-olds living in like dorm style barracks.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And something I forgot to mention is they even gave me the option when I was coming out of training to join the National Guard. So they gave me the opportunity to switch into the National Guard to join the same unit as her. So they even gave us that opportunity to be in the same unit. Things kind of worked out a little bit differently, and I got attached to this unit, which I'm actually more happy with. So I can decide to stay in this unit. Whereas she was assigned to be a battalion surgeon, so we couldn't really join the same unit at that point. But they did give us the option initially. So they've kind of worked around us as well too.
All right, that's great to hear that at least through both components that they're able to be flexible either way. So I'd actually like to go ahead and conserve your time. So we're going to wrap this up a little bit. But one thing that I do ask is when people come on, I have a deck of random questions. So this is completely unrelated, but
Oh boy.
what is the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh boy. Let's see. Probably. Oh, okay. This is a good one. So, when I was a resident, my senior resident, so I was on overnight call for the ICU. My senior resident wanted me to call the attending neurosurgeon to let him know that a patient refused to have an MRI performed. Um, However, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and he told me that that was perfectly fine, that I should go ahead and call him. So I called the neurosurgeon at 3 o'clock in the morning to let him know a patient canceled. That was, yeah, probably the worst advice I ever had, and I was swiftly corrected to never do that again. So yeah, there's a long list of terrible advice, but that one stands out especially.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you very much, sir, for taking time out of your day and sitting down and talking with me.
Of
If
course.
if we have anybody listening that has any questions, you can go ahead and shoot it to us. Our email is in the descriptions, and if it's something that I can go ahead and pass off to Dr. Boswell, we can do that. Or if he isn't too offended, we can actually have him back on for to answer just some listener questions too.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine with me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir, and have a good day. And I'm sure we'll be in contact quite a bit soon.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Bye.
Bye.